Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's FPV podcast. We have one of our, the most reoccurring person that actually is on the podcast. Great person over here on the East Coast. Love flying with him. Love being around him. And, just hanging out with him. So, Boba Fett, say hello to everyone.
You make it sound like you're bored with me.
I even used your old name.
I can see you laughing over there. Probably the last time I was on the podcast, I was still Boba Fett. But yeah, it's all been switched over to Nurk FPV. My full name is Paul Nurkkala, and so I actually went by Nurk for a good portion of high school because I played a lot of sports in high school. And when your name is Paul and all of the sports you play involve a ball, it adds a little bit of extra confusion, when you're communicating on the field. So I was like, well, let's go to Nurk. My dad went by that for a while at some point in his life, and so I kind of carry on the tradition here in drone racing. And so I'm a lot more proud of this name than I ever was of Boba Fett. Even though it wasn't a bad name, it's just I like this more.
That's pretty cool, actually. I didn't know about that background, but
Yeah.
Nurk FPV, he switched over completely. I bet you that took a long time to switch everything over.
I'm still finding things that I haven't switched over. Like I figured out my Reddit account is still Boba Fett the other day, and I also figured out that you can't change Reddit accounts. So I'm like, do I just leave it? Do I change it? Do I just add some flair? Like I don't even know.
Just start over. One unified branding. But for those of you who don't know about Nurk or Paul's background, definitely check out Intro to Drone Racing. We do that as a yearly podcast, and he shares some really great insight into getting into drone racing. So definitely go there. But we're going to go ahead and jump into the content. So Paul, what have you been doing lately?
Well, so we actually just wrapped filming for DRL in late June, and so I kind of recovered from that. Being we were gone out of the country, traveling in Europe for like 20 some days, and so I came back, I recovered a little bit, and actually I've been mostly trying to catch up on like real work, non-drone related work, and so that's actually kind of how most of my life has been since then. But also looking forward into the future, thinking about Reno and the International Open and some other little projects on the side.
Awesome. Pretty cool. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about DRL before we get into all the other stuff. Now, obviously, that was a big part of the 2007 for you so far. So, like, when they gave you the call saying that you were going to be a pilot, what was your feeling?
It was a conclusion to a long story, I think. It's so I've been trying to kind of get on DRL for a long time, right? I've been sending them emails and bugging them. I did the application process, all that. I finally got enough attention, actually thanks to Zach Thayer and Jordan Temkin, they actually put me in front of Ryan when they were looking for coaches last season, back in season 1, and so I got to kind of go out and be a part of 2 of those episodes. Didn't end up making it on the show, but that's okay. Got the experience, got my foot in the door, and then after I took second place at Drone Worlds, it was actually the next day. I was still in Hawaii, and DRL called and said, "Hey, it's time. You're going up to the big leagues." So I mean, that was obviously like the highlight, and it wasn't necessarily a surprise. I had worked really hard to get there, and so I was just excited to have kind of finally achieved what I wanted.
That's pretty cool. So before we get into the piloting part of it, how was it to be a coach?
Coaching was really fun, actually. I understand why it didn't make it to the show, but I thought it added an interesting element to it. Basically, what we would do is during the semifinals and practice rounds, we would just kind of between heats talk to the pilots and just kind of offer them a little bit of encouragement and help them strategize, right? Because you don't want to be telling your opponents, who are also your friends, right, at the same time, you don't want to be telling them what your strategies are or what you're thinking about the course, so you get to come back and talk to your coach. And then in the finals for DRL, so the World Championship at Detroit, we actually got like radio systems, and so we were connected directly. They had one earbud in, and we could talk to them during the race and say, these pilots are out. This is the turn that they crashed on. This is how far you need to make it, and all that would come together to, I think, make for better racing and some really cool content. but it just didn't fit the style of the show.
Okay, so it just didn't make it in.
Correct.
All right.
Hey, Paul, how you doing, man? Sorry I'm late.
Hey, Elvan, it's good to see you.
So, yeah, we're already getting into DRL. Elvan's late, so we should just boot him. No, I'm kidding. So, now, once you got in, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Level 1. Level 1 was a very interesting course, a lot of verticality. You were definitely all over the place in the stadium. When you first saw that course, what were you thinking?
Well, so the first instinct is to think a little bit selfishly, right? I looked at it, I was like, this is not my course. This is not where I'm going to excel. I tend to do really well in smaller, tighter areas. And when you just kind of have this wide open space with, no, when it's not making the decision for you how you need to fly it, it's a little bit intimidating for me. But I mean, at the same time, it's like, no, in no other circumstance would we ever be able to fly there. So it's still kind of a dream come true. It's cool. It's awesome. It's fun. Visually, I think it's probably one of the best races that DRL did. And it was a blast.
Definitely. And I think when we were watching that episode, one of the things that we noticed was that a lot of the rookies, I guess the rookies meaning the first-time pilots, really struggled, in the first episode. Was that something that, was it stress? Was it just lack of experience? Do you have something that you would attribute to, the rookies struggling early on?
Yeah, I mean, so I was a rookie in Level 1. And I guess you're still a rookie your whole first year, but in Level 1, that was my first DRL race as a pilot, and I thought I was ready for it. To be honest, I thought I was prepared to deal with the stress and the pressure of being there facing against the best pilots in the world. And so surprise, surprise, when I get there and have to race with lights in your face and cameras on you and producers yelling at you and other, the best pilots in the world sitting next to you, like it's hard. And it got the best of me. I took last place. I was for a time the worst DRL pilot ever. Like it was just
not something that we would think of you for sure.
It took me by surprise. I'll be honest, and it
took us by surprise too, right? Why?
Yeah, definitely. And one of the things, like, I've been around Paul a lot in racing, right? And I could just see the frustration on your face when you were like in Heat 5 and onward. You just were not happy with yourself, weren't you? You were just kind of like, I know I can do better than this. Was that what you're telling yourself?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And at the same time, still dealing with that stress. Like that doesn't go away if you don't go in with the right mindset. And so, that just continues to weigh on you, and it weighs on you worse and worse and worse. Like, I mean, even in Heat 4, I think, of semifinals, I got smashed out of the air by beast mode, like right off takeoff. And like, that's at that moment where it's just like, oh, I'm done. It's like there's nothing you can do at that point. And I actually flew a lot better after that because I finally just gave up. I was like, you kind of hit it mode. You're like, it's just, I'm ready to go. And that's what happened. So.
But here's the thing, though, because I remember this. You actually, on the last heat, had a chance to actually get in. It had you finish. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. Talk to me about that last heat because you had that chance.
Yeah, well, and I wish they would have used the soundbite in the show, but I pulled one of the cameramen aside and had I was just like, start recording, look at me, and I just kind of like leaned into the camera. I was like, this is going to be amazing or a complete disaster. I have to go for broke. And that was what I did. I trailed around for the first bits where I was really uncomfortable and actually where the video was worse on the course. And then as soon as I came through that Heaven's Gate, I saw everybody go wide, and I saw that inside line took it and came out first and led for the entire race until I flipped. It was doing that power loop maneuver, and I just carried a little bit too much momentum up through the helix and just tapped the ceiling. And that was it. But I mean, it was still a great moment in the show. Like everybody kind of just realized, like, oh, he can do this. He just is having a bad day. It's like that felt really good. There's a lot of validation in that moment.
I thought you were gonna do it. I thought you were really gonna do it. It's like, oh my gosh, he's gonna pull the Cinderella story.
How incredible would that have been? Yeah,
that would have been awesome because I was like, yes, he's gonna do it. Because you had a huge lead. I mean, it was gigantic, and it was like, But that power loop though, like Jordan just pulled it out of his ass literally, and then everybody started doing it.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing though is I was never even trying to do the power loop. It's just I came up through that helix just full bore, and I did not have enough time to just bleed that speed before I smacked into the ceiling.
Yeah, that's tough though. But you know what? We already know the story. You came back strong, and you're already kind of at this point in the episodes, you've already clinched a spot into the playoffs. So that's kudos to you on that. But like, leaving, you
How's
you were
that feel?
Yeah. Well, let's not talk about that first. But leaving level 1, knowing that you were dead last. I mean, what were you telling yourself?
Well, I talk about it a little bit in the show. They bring it in a couple times, like I was tempted to kind of feel this like imposter syndrome, right? I don't deserve to be here. I have totally screwed up. I thought I had what it took, and I didn't. And so like that's the worst feeling ever. There is no doubt of that. Like it's people were counting on me. People have literally spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on not just me, but I mean on bringing the pilots here and making sure that they're the right ones for the job, and I just blew it, and that's how I felt. So I went back home and I thought really hard for a long time. I figured some things out. I'm not trying to make excuses, but I was using the wrong rate profile on the Tyrannus, and so I was actually flying much twitchier rates than I was used to, and I didn't realize that in the heat of the moment. For the entire event, I thought I was supposed to be one. I was a different one. I changed that. I was flying a much lower camera tilt at the event than I had practiced with, and I pushed myself to fly with a higher one because of the long open areas that DRL has that not other courses have. So when I'm flying down that long hallway in Miami on the underground after you do the 180 turn around the uprights, I'm looking at the ground, whereas everybody else is just flying level and comfortably. And so, there were a couple of different things that I tweaked. I changed those in my flying and by practicing, and then also worked on my attitude at the same time. They didn't use it in the show much, but pretty much in every interview, I just say, what, I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to fly. I'm happy to race. I'm going to do the best that I know I can. And I know that my best will dominate, and that's
you look more comfortable as time passed on. You look to seem like you started to relax, and one of the things I've noticed about you is you do smile, even though you got this. There it is, right there, that thing right there. You do that when you're doing good. We see a lot of that. When you're not doing good, we see a little less of it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But that's everybody.
We just watching you, man.
That's what racing is about. I think that racing is 100% a mental game, right? It is all about staying out of your head. And if you can just be happy, be relaxed, you're going to do so much better than if you are so stressed out that you could crap a diamond out. Like, so you might as well relax.
Well, let's just say that in episode 1, you weren't the only one struggled. I think the biggest story was still Jet struggling, and it was like I was kind of surprised, but I mean, it happens, right? So going on to level 2, clean slate, definitely a different track now. You're kind of in I guess it's like a warehouse with some long corridors, pretty cool looking track. Is that a track that you were a little bit more comfortable in because it was more defined racing lanes?
Absolutely. It's I knew where the trouble spots were going to be. I knew how to slow down and take things the right way. I knew how to play it safe, which is what I did. If you go back and you look at the scores, you'll see that I finished a much higher percentage than everybody else, and that just kind of carried me through until the point where I would start racing hard and start winning heats to bring my points up enough to take the victories.
Okay, so talk to me a little bit about that, because we know, or we've talked a lot about what your philosophy and what your strategy is. You're always interested in making sure that you are in the race to give yourself a chance for that win. So, like, did that play out the way you expected, or were you a little nervous because, this is a different level for you to try that strategy?
It's so you're right, and it is definitely the case that the people are better on average at this race than any other. But at the same time, all of these pilots have something to prove. All of them want to beat each other. All of them have their strengths and weaknesses. And if I just sit back, relax, and let that story unfold and make my decisions as it does, that's what I did. So in practice and in semifinals in level 2, I could see where people were struggling. I could see what different, or like who was succeeding and who wasn't. And I got a little bit lucky because Jordan didn't make finals, right? I had Gab 707, the reigning champion of season 2. I had Zach there, who is an obscenely fast and consistent pilot, and was in semifinals especially, and Jordan Temkin, the 2016 world champion. And those were the 3 spots that I figured would go on to finals in level 3 or level 2. So it's, I'm sitting there like, well, I got to do my best, and I've got to finish and hope that, Zach, Jordan, and Gab try to battle it out up front. And they did. Jordan didn't make it, and I did.
Yeah, I mean, and you proved yourself and you earned that spot. So it wasn't something like, you snuck in or anything like that.
No.
So, the first day when you knew you had a chance, towards the end when it was getting close, did you change up any of your strategy going, trying to get that last spot?
Nope. Just same thing all the way through. Just finish races, because I can still sit there and look at the scoreboard and see, okay, they're not finishing this percentage. I can keep doing this. I'll take opportunities when I get them, and I'm going to do, I'm going to fly my own race.
Okay.
And that strategy carried me into finals.
Tactician, man. That's a tactician right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so one thing that I would say watching you race is that you're not the type to try to get out to that first massive lead. You seem to be the type to see the playing field and then make your move in the middle of that. Is that something that you like doing, or is it just something that, the other guys are just like, they just love busting right out of the beginning?
That's a great question, and it's something that I'm still kind of trying to figure out. So there's some power in being out front, right? You can start making your decisions. You can fly your lines. You're less likely to get hit, but it involves a little bit of risk, right? And so depending on how I'm feeling with the course and against the competition, I might choose that. So, for example, I was at a race a couple weekends ago, and I knew that the person that was most likely to beat me did not like to have someone in front of him, so I just took him off the start line and kept him behind me the whole time, and that messed with his head in, and it there. Gab is that way. Gab 707, if you get in front of him, he's just off his game completely, and you can see that happen time and time again at level 3. But one of the things that I don't like about DRL courses is that they aren't often 2 laps. And when you have multiple laps, I know I can plan on the course and say, I'm going to catch somebody here. You could see it in level 3 when I took Provo on that last turn. I knew that's where I'm going to get him. I'm going to wait. I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to take him. I'm going to finish before him. And so having that opportunity to kind of think through overall what's going on is really, really nice. So sometimes, yes, I plan to wait. Sometimes, yes, I'll get out front. It just depends on the circumstance.
Okay. Now, would you say when you were flying level 2 that you ever flew out of your comfort zone, or, like you had to push beyond your boundaries in order to actually make the spots that you needed for points?
I don't think I ever felt that way.
Okay.
I think everything felt comfortable. I flew what felt good. I actually remember when I was flying in level 2, that back section, the highway, where you're kind of like weaving through the gates. At one point, I started to get, like, for lack of a better term, like kind of juicy with it. I was like, oh yeah, I'm having fun here. And I was like, wait a second, I need to race. I was like, wait, I'm too relaxed, like, which was great.
Starting to have too much fun, man.
Yeah, it was a great moment, and it just kind of was like, oh yeah, I can hang and I can, just fly, and both are going to lead to success.
All right, so let's go ahead on to day 2, finals, right? So now you're up against the 6th best. When you went into finals, I mean, obviously your strategy carried you through day 1. Going into day 2, did you keep with the same strategy, or did you make any modifications to it?
Same thing. You can watch the races, and you'll see me. I'll be 3rd, 4th, 5th for most of the race, and then there will be the there'll be the couple times where I choose to take people. The gravity gate was one of them. The triple pass was another. Those, and I knew, so like when you go from the highway room into the front room, that little tiny like gate or door with the fence next to it, everybody was crashing there. Like I was sitting there with a notebook during practice, and I could say, this person crashed here, this person crashed here, this person crashed here, this person crashed here, and I could see that everybody is going through here. So I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna go way off. I'm just gonna get through that and not mess it up ever. And I don't think I ever crashed up there, and that paid off.
That definitely played off. So,
Yeah.
would you say during that course was the gravity gate more challenging, or was the triple gates more challenging?
I would say that the only super challenging part about that course was the that pass from the one room into the other, and the turn at the end of the hallway was pretty tricky because so you're going full speed down the hall, and then you'd have to take that hard right and get into the highway room. There's a cable cam right there, which got some awesome shots, but actually that doorway is cut in half, so you have to come through low at the end of a long straight through a blind corner into the next room without hitting the obstacles immediately in the next room. So that was pretty rough. The gravity gate actually was the easiest gravity gate that we've ever had because it didn't have legs. They got rid of the legs for us so that we could just kind of pass through it without having to worry about our exit as much. And that brought everybody's nerves down, and we were able to fly it a lot better, and it made for much better racing.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting because most people did pretty well through the to that blind room in the hallway. I guess mostly because like they knew they had to be careful. At the beginning you could actually see a lot of bobbles as people were trying to get into a straight line, trying to get through there, or get into there and trying to get into a straight line anyways. But
everybody, because it's so close to the beginning of the race that everybody is still thinking about that. But then they start speeding up and they start battling back and forth, and then they stop thinking and start crashing.
Stop thinking, start crashing. That's true. All right. So, what were your final thoughts out of level 2 when you're there and you realize your podium and you validated yourself as being somebody that belongs?
To be honest, I still felt lucky.
Really?
I didn't. Like that's how I felt a lot with drone nationals and drone worlds too. Is like I kind of just played it safe, and it worked out for me. And whether or not that's true, that it's just happening to work out, or if it's really just like a really good strategy, I still kind of don't feel like that's the truth, right? And so at the end of level 2, like I felt like I did well. I did good strategic racing, but I didn't feel like a racer. Does that make sense? I didn't feel fast.
You didn't feel
which is okay.
Fast. Okay.
Yeah. And I never was. I think I was still 4 or 5 seconds behind the top pace.
Okay. So going out of, level 2, what was your thought process? That you wanted to be faster? Are you going to train to be faster? What'd you do in preparations for level 3?
Coming out of level 2, I had a much higher sense of confidence. It made me know that my strategies could work. I didn't know that they would necessarily be the best choice, like I'm talking about now. But I actually went out of level 2 and went to a race out in Colorado, the Tiny Whoop World Championship. And while we were there, we went and did this like little fun multi-GP race. And a lot of the guys were there: Provo, Jordan Temkin, Zach Thayer, Nodiva, and a bunch of other fast guys. Brain Drain was there. And it's just like, and I beat everybody with the GoPro, like big fatty quad that weighed twice as much as everybody else's. But just flying confidently and smoothly, it paid off. And I was like, okay, so it built up a little bit more confidence. And I got to carry that into level 3.
Okay, so before we get into level 3, one of the things that other DRL racers have kind of already said, and I want your opinion on this, is that the Racers 3s don't fly like what normal quads fly like because they have so much mass. It's definitely a quad in which you actually have to keep momentum. You can't just do like a stop and go, because it takes a long time to actually accelerate back up to top speed again. Do you feel the same way about that?
Yeah.
So, like, did that alter your flying style? Because, like, a lot of racers are used to that, like, low weight, high power, so that, they can stop and go on a dime and still be just as fast as you if you're smooth through a corner.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely has influenced my style. I have smoothed out a lot since the beginning of the year. I'm finding straight lines. I'm trying to correct less in the middle of maneuvers. So like I kind of have, I don't twitch. I don't get nervous like that, but I just have this idle, like I'm just kind of like always like twitching around just a little bit, and that just slows you down. Like, I mean, it's not a major slowdown, but it's, it over the run of an entire lap, it might be a second, and that's a
Right.
big deal when you're finishing within 2 seconds of each other.
Tenth of a second
And
sometimes. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And so having to juice everything I can out of Racer 3 has influenced my personal style quite a bit.
So do you like that type of quad, or do you prefer the the low weight, high power quads that you kind of normally see in MultiGP right now because they can get away with it?
I think what it's done is that it makes me not care. I'll fly whatever, and I'm going to fly it faster than you.
Well, that's true because of me. I don't know about some of the other guys out
Well,
there.
yeah, but it's super high thrust to weight is going to make you less or more confident with
That
being
you can
able to
run
just
away from somebody, right?
yeah, to be able to just power out of stuff. But I'll
Right.
just take the corner a little bit sharper and
Right.
get around the course faster.
Pretty cool. So
Well,
does some of the DRL pilots says that if they practice a lot on their personal quads that are set up like that and then go back to the racer, they kind of lose a little bit of their edge because it flies so differently. Do you get that same feeling that you have to practice with your racer in order to maintain what you need to do to get the most out of that quad?
Except for maybe like a few batteries a week of freestyle, I chose not to fly my own quads for most of the beginning of the year, and pretty much exclusively flew Racer 3s.
And you
So
feel that it helps you out?
yeah,
I'm guessing
absolutely.
it does. Okay,
Yeah.
so going into level 3. So obviously you podiumed and you want to podium a second time, which kind of almost guarantees you a spot into the final or playoff. Sorry, they don't call it
did,
finals. Yeah. So going into level 3, this is an entirely different course. This is one of the courses where it's very narrow. There's a lot of obstacles. It definitely punished you if you got off your line, and things seemingly jumped out at you. What was your thought process when you were practicing that course?
I was pumped about it, honestly. Like when the more the course is like an obstacle course, and the less forgiving it is, the more excited about. Because I can sit back and strategize and think more, and wait for crashes and take opportunities when people make a slightly wrong turn. Much better on that type of course than I can on something where you're pretty much flat out the whole time.
Okay, so you got something, Elvin? No.
No, I
Okay.
was just agreeing with him. He seems like he's always been an agile flyer. We've noticed that before.
So this is the first 2-lap race. Were you happy with the decision for a shorter course and then doing a double lap?
Oh yeah.
So did that change your strategy in terms of like how you wanted to fly? Like now I have a second lap, so I'll hang back and then I'll pass in these specific spots.
Yeah, it absolutely did. You can see when you watch the show that like I'll usually be like fourth or fifth through that first turn, and then it starts I'll let the field kind of whittle itself down a little bit, right? A lot of people crashed around that first turn. A lot of people crashed going up into the first rafters, and on the vertical, the reverse split S thing, so I could kind of wait and see what would happen, and then as soon as that course was clear for me, I just ramped up the throttle a lot and started just flying with my lines now that I know that it's clear and I'm not going to get bumped out of the air, and catch up to the leaders or pass them.
Yeah, it was definitely like level 3 was so different because there was so much crashing involved, and most of it is due to obstacles. It didn't seem like being first really gave you all that much of an advantage because you ended up pushing it a little bit too much and crash out, or somebody caught behind you and there was a midair collision. Is that how you felt when you were racing it?
With the exception of McStrally, yes. If he got out front, he was deadly.
Oh man, he was fast. Unfortunately, though, I think there was only one heat he completed with that blistering pace, though, which
Yes.
which was like the last heat, which is kind of funny because that altered who got first, which really affected you.
It did. I still am pissed at him about that. I bring it up to him. I bring it up to him every chance I get. I was like, "Hey, remember that one time you just screwed me over?" And then he's kind of like, and then in his German, oh yeah. And then kind of like shies away. Like, it's great.
Let's get into that because that was so funny, right? Because Jet had control. This was the last heat. Jet had control. All he had to do was like get fourth. He crashed out immediately, which gave you the opportunity to take first. Unfortunately, go ahead.
Well, and I'm sitting there on the cockpit, and I hear that. Like I heard someone smack off the front of the line, and then nothing, and then Jordan crashed like after the end of that first quarter lap, and he starts doing his laugh. Like you can just picture Jordan's kind of obnoxious chortle, and I tell that to his face. And so like I was like, crap, I'm good here. All I have to do is win this. And first, I don't think it ever registered to me that McStrolly was in front of me. Like I don't think I knew that he was out there. And so we're ripping around the course. Like I still had a pretty good pace for that one. And then we get to the end, and I hear McStrolly go in, and I'm like, there was somebody in front of me. No,
he was really far. Yeah.
And we didn't know who was where or what position, and yeah, he was way out there. And so like they kind of briefly touched on it on the show, but like they're just kind of like they don't really know what just happened. Like they're all just super confused because Jordan didn't think he won. Like right. Jordan like turned around and congratulated me. It was like, congratulations, you're level 1 or level 3 champion. And I'm like, I don't know. And yeah, and then it just happened to be that McStrolly took away the 1 point that I needed to get my first DRL victory. But I'm not complaining about second. Don't get me wrong.
No, it was just funny because like every single time he did that, he crashed out because he was pushing too hard. And it was just that last heat, man. He was perfect, and man, he was on a blistering pace. So
and he didn't affect anything for himself. That's the part that pisses me off the most. It's like, yes, he got the course record. Yeah, he got a little bit of it. It's like, you stole that from me, man. Come on.
Hey, you know what? Like course speed record, you should get like some season points for that. It gives people to push hard or something like that. That would be kind of cool. But yeah, it was definitely tough. Now, talk to me about like what was the hardest part about that? It seemed like it was either the rafters or it was like one of the last turns or towards the end, or maybe it was the under over.
For me, it was the under over. That was never something that I had practiced. And the way that they set it up was that, so like you have two gates, right? And the one is, so as you're going through the lower one, it's closer than the one that's over, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like you go under and then go 5 feet, and then you start to climb to go through the over gate. And that was really funky. And it actually got me at one point. Where I turned around and then started to climb, and I smacked right into it as I thought I was going through it, or I thought I was far enough to just kind of climb and then go through. And so that, I think that was the worst part for me. I don't know about for other pilots, but that definitely did not help me.
Well, now I noticed that because you were in the middle of the pack most of the times when you start, can you actually tell the difference of like the colors to know who's in front of you so that you can pass him? Or is it just a big fireball and you just, maybe from flying style, you can kind of deduce who it is? Or was there any, knowing?
I'm trying to remember now. I think you can tell a bright color or a dark color. But you can't make out the differences. So if it was like Gab and Beast Mode in front of me, I would not be able to tell apart. But if it was Jet and McStrolly, I could tell you which one was which. But you still didn't really think about that. You just fly. And you go as fast as you can. Yeah. That's not me talking. That's just when you're at that level, when you're pushing that hard, everything else just kind of blacks out and you're like, oh, there's somebody I got to beat.
Yeah, when you get past it, your senses go like, oh shit, Yeah. I mean, it's like I gotta get that back. I gotta get that back.
Now there was one heat you just led all the way through, and you set a track record. Was that the heat you just decided to say, screw it, I'm just gonna go for it? Or what happened there?
So they told me that I set the course record on camera, and I actually had no idea. Like my reaction to that was like, oh, what, really? Like that actually happened? And I just, again, like I wasn't flying any faster than I thought I was, and then I got out front. I had a little bit of space, and I flew comfortably. Like I have the DVR from that lap, and I just watched it the other day again just to kind of see like what was going on. It was just clean and fun and smooth, and I was enjoying it.
Okay, I was just curious because it was like, like for that particular heat, just like it just felt different. So I guess for you, it just everything just kind of parted and opened up, and you just went for it.
Yeah, exactly.
It happens sometimes.
Now Moses FPV over here.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't start that.
Don't start that. All right. So before we wrap this up, we'll have some lightning questions that we're trying to ask all of the DRL pilots that come on. You ready for it? First thing that comes to mind, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Person with the best game face.
With the
best game face.
Best game face.
Gab.
Okay. Person with the most raw talent. He can just roll out of bed and just crush it.
Jordan.
Okay. Jet. Best strategist.
Nurk.
Okay, I'll give you that. Starts slow, finishes fast.
Jet.
Okay, of all the rookies, just the rookies, who was the underdog in your opinion?
Duncan.
Okay, funniest.
Duncan.
Looks the best on TV.
Jordan.
Yeah.
Jordan. Okay. And that's it. That's all the questions we had. You answered completely differently than everybody else, so it's all right.
Oh, really? Dang. What did everybody else answer?
No, they were pretty close. More Jordans than a lot of other people. Everybody.
Jordan's my hero, so.
Okay. Hey, he crushed it in
There's
level 3.
nothing wrong with that, man. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I mean Jordan was. I remember. Do you remember F3 Expo? Like way back when? Yeah, I guess you and I were there. Yeah, all three of us were there.
All three of us, yeah.
And Jordan was there. And Jordan had just won the California Cup,
right?
And so he was kind of like the current like top dog, kind of like
the one to beat. Yeah,
like it was like when Banny won, he was the guy for a long time, and when Sean takes, well, I guess Sean is just always the top dog, but and so I remember that we kind of I was hanging out with Zach there at the time, and that was the first time we had met in person, and he brought me up to visit with them, and they were just like, oh, we're gonna go over to the freestyle venue right now and just chill. Do you want to come with? And I was like, oh yeah, I guess. I don't have a pass or the right VIP tickets or whatever. They're just like, don't worry about it, we'll sneak you in, which was fun. And then so like we were freestyling in there, and I was channels, like buddy channel with Jordan. I mean, he is like even at that point just next level, so good and awesome, and it was so fun to watch him fly through the course or through the freestyle. But then he would get on my channel and just watch and offer feedback and just kind of be excited when I was excited. And he's just this down to earth, awesome guy. And that stuck with me, and it made me that kind of developed the kind of pilot that I wanted to be. And so I have always looked up to Jordan. So I'm really excited to be racing against him.
That's pretty cool.
I beat him once.
Yeah. You beat him more than once, okay? But like Jordan, Jet, he crushed it in level 3. What was different about him? Because in level 1 and 2, he seemed to be really struggling.
Yeah, he was just ready for his win. He knew it needed to happen. He knew what he needed to do to get there, and he is an ultimate competitor. And when shit hits the fan, he had to compete, and he did.
Under pressure, he's really good. Would you say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a certain kind of pressure. There's like expectations pressure, and then there's like I have to do this pressure. And he finally got to that point in level 3.
Definitely. Pretty cool. Okay, so two straight podiums. Should have got first. Were you on a high at that point, and or like did you still feel like you had something to prove?
I think that I proved what I needed to prove in level 3. I think that I setting course records and taking first place for my own, not by luck. Those sorts of things. Like just that confidence building that happened between level 2 and 3, just carried me into where I was in level 3.
Okay, pretty cool. So, well, we'll leave that alone because we're at level 3 right now. So we'll just be done with that. Cool. Any other thoughts of DRL before we move on?
No, I'm super excited. I've really enjoyed watching. I've been bringing non-FPV friends to watch it with me and just kind of see what they think, and that's been really fun. This is stuff that was filmed like 4 or 5 months ago, and so it's like I'm super glad to kind of like have finally be able to share it and talk about it and stuff. So like I'm just still really excited about it. And yeah, the funnest thing that you can do if you want is to, during the events when it's on TV, go on Twitter and search ESPN drones, and you'll get some of the funniest comments you've ever read. It'll either be like, why is ESPN wasting money on drone racing? Or, people will be like, what the heck is this? This is awesome. I've never seen anything so cool. Like it's really fun to just kind of prowl on Twitter during the events. It's great.
The whole spectrum, man. The whole spectrum. Some people understand it and some people don't. That's just how it is.
Yep.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on. Obviously, DRL was a big part of your beginning of 2017, beginning of 2017 all the way up midway. So what are you up to now? I hear you got some filming gigs that you're doing now?
Yeah, so I don't know if you caught, and I don't know if all of your audience will have caught, but I did this video where I power looped a moving truck.
Yes.
There's a moving semi truck down the road, and I flew underneath it all the way around.
On the closed course.
It was safety measures were taken.
Yes.
I'm going back to that same company for a second promo video.
Nice.
And it's going to be, let's just say, twice as epic or more. And so I'm really looking forward to that. But more than that, what I've been excited about with that is that it's kind of an opportunity for me to like not like direct something, but kind of say this is how I want it to roll. These are the shots that I want to get. This is the kind of, it's not there's a story arc to it. It's not a story, but there is a beginning, a middle, and a conclusion to the point where you could kind of pull that out and kind of see where that's going. And so I'm really excited to sit down and actually film it and edit it, see what kind of, because this is where I think that, there could be some money in FPV, especially for FPV racers, is like, how can we help do marketing with equipment that nobody else can do? And so I'm really excited to give this another shot and to steer into that.
No,
We're going to be doing a similar gig with a local go-karting place as well. I kind of got a hold of them and started talking to them, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we'd love to have you come out and film something here, and you just, we'll let you on the track for free if you, give us the content or some content." And I think it's
don't forget
great.
The shark, man. Remember the shark at F3? Don't forget that. Remember the floating, the original. The blimp, remember?
The dirigible. Yeah.
Jesus. Anyway, don't forget that. That's always an option. They make small ones of that,
Yeah.
Those things cost an arm and a leg, but I like the idea. I like the idea of like, because
what happened did.
Well, I like the idea of like using quads to get certain filming angles that you would never get, and maybe punch up some commercials that that might be a good line of work. It's like advertising is definitely, that has some money. Is that something you're trying to actively pursue?
It's a passive active. I'm starting to see the potential, but I have no idea how to like make that happen. So I'm doing everything I can now to take advantage of the opportunities that I do have to create really kick-ass content, and then hopefully start getting paid to do it.
Okay, that sounds pretty cool. And it's like, are they actually trying to make it into a television commercial, or is this kind of just like an online thing?
Online, social, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still good.
you could look at like a couple weeks back, the Samsung Galaxy S8. They did a bunch of stuff with Devin Supertramp and Casey Neistat and Marquez, the really tall black guy that does phone reviews, and stuff like that. And like in the they kind of just kind of this alternative way to promote something that was outside of the box, but still really, really effective and really fun. I have a Galaxy S8 right now. Not because of that, but it's
I have a Galaxy. Come on, hire me.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so it's kind of, I'm trying to think of those sorts. How can I put myself in more of those situations to drive potential business like that to where I could start supporting myself a little bit more with drones?
Yeah, I think you should definitely reach out to some outdoor YouTube channels, some of the bigger ones, and like just offer to capture some shots for them to use in their videos, and then let them plug you based on your shots. And
absolutely,
I think that totally can work, because like Phantoms and stuff, they can only do so much, right? They can never do some of the extreme stuff that a manual controlled drone can capture, so long as you can do it safely and convince people that you can do it safely.
Yeah, I mean, so this weekend I was breaking in a long range rig, mini quad, and got some pretty awesome stuff chasing some of my friends tubing. I mean, it's not wakeboarding or anything, and it'll get there once I find the right opportunity. But I mean, I can, as the tube is like swinging outside of the boat, I'm tucked in like at face level behind the tube as it's swinging out and around, and it is pretty epic stuff. And now I can take that and say, this is what we can do with wakeboarding, mountain biking, skiing, ski jumping, whatever. I'll fly it underneath
sand railing.
Yeah, so that's what I want to see happen. That's the direction I want to take it.
That's a pretty cool pursuit. I think the only thing that you have to look into is somehow being able to insure yourself against damages. That's how you crack into some of the larger companies, because you have to have insurance when you do this stuff. Yeah. That's just what they ask for. So like one of the things that you're best known for is your vlogging and also the content you put out. It's really grown your channel quite a bit. So, you've been busy the first half of the year. Are you getting back on track with your content?
Yeah, so I think the thing that's taken the biggest hit is actually the FPV live stream, which really bums me out, because that was one of the things that I loved doing the most. It was also one of the more stressful things that I had to do, because like lining those up and making sure that I had everything ready and actually doing them on camera it's time consuming. Like that consumes probably between like promotionals, between previews, between editing for it, getting all this stuff together, doing the networking, all that. Like it takes up probably 8 hours a week, which that is what it is. But it's a time suck when you're also working for yourself and trying to practice and do all these things. So I'm excited to have that come back. Hopefully, now that life will settle out a little bit more. I've figured out that YouTube finally does live streaming, so I've been doing like little mini streams here and there to try to kind of curb the appetite of some of my subscribers. And then one thing that I've been working on this year that I think is really important is staying on a regular release schedule. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm putting out new content, and making sure that I have stuff in the pipeline ready to go. Like currently I'm backlogged like 4 videos. Like I don't want to make more videos because I have so many that I'm waiting to put out. It's bad.
Hey, that's good though. So every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, is there like a specific type on Monday, specific type on Wednesday, and specific type on Friday? Or you just like whatever you like?
Yeah, I try not to make it back to back, like just talking or just flying. I try to go from one to the other, whatever it is. But yeah, no, I have no particular release schedule for that, for what type of content. It's just whatever is there. If it was a vlog, it's a vlog. If it's a flight video, it's a flight video. If it's a review, it's a review.
Okay, so one thing I got to ask about your vlogs, because like you literally fly right out of the window at your house, which I find hilarious, by the way, because like you live in a regular neighborhood. You don't have like a chunk of land. Like, what do your neighbors think? It's like, oh, there's this kid flying his drone again. Is like,
Well, so the neighbors that live, like if you're looking at my house from the front, you've seen my house from the front because you've seen videos. If you look at the neighbors to the left, they are 20 somethings. They don't have any kids. They have one dog that loves the drone, and they think it's the coolest thing ever. Like they watch the DRL. They are a fan. Like so they're like they're totally cool with it. On the right side, I've literally never spoken to those neighbors. I've waved at them. I've tried to like say hi, like can we talk? And it's not like they blow me off, but they just, oh hey, and then carry on with their lives. And so that's fine. And then other neighbors just kind of smile and enjoy, and I'm respectful with when I fly and how I fly, and it's never been a problem.
I'm so surprised it's never been a problem. And like, there's a few times where you just like skip around the lake. It's like one of these days I'm going to get online on Facebook and he's going to plunk one right into the water.
Yeah, that question has actually come up like 3 or 4 times in the last couple of days. And knock on wood, I have never put a drone in that pond.
Damn!
I've put plenty of drones in other ponds, but never this one.
Would you
I've gotten close?
Would you go in after it once it goes in?
Yeah, it's kind of gross. It's kind of a gross pond, but
you just tell your dog, go sick.
I wish.
Dude,
she
your
won't
dog
even pick it up. It's on shore.
Oh man, your dog loves chasing that drone.
You need that little fishing thing, that little fishing lure thing that they got out now. You put that on your quad so that it pops up. At least you know where it's at, right?
Yeah.
Never gonna work. Never gonna work.
It has worked.
It has worked. No, it hasn't. All right, so
it has.
Okay, any cool builds in your near future? Because you're well known for that. People ask about that.
Yeah.
Really? That's funny. Yeah, I've got this crazy one right now that I just finished on a mini stream today. I'm trying to see where I put it.
It's in his office full of guy
Yeah,
crap.
there's stuff everywhere. Oh, here it is. This little guy. So this is, and for the people that are, I'll try to describe it for the people that are just listening to audio, which is probably most of you. So I have a little 3-inch quad here. This is the HiFi Multi-Rotors Volcore. It kind of looks like a Batarang or like a Formula One steering wheel, where it has like a crossbar on 2 of the arms and then 2 of the arms don't. I built mine sideways so that it has the bumpers on the front and the back. And then on it, I have 2 cameras. One is a RunCam Micro Swift, the really, really small CCD camera. And then the other is the RunCam Split, which is their RunCam 3 follow-up that has a stack-mounted camera body. And then the lens is on a RunCam Micro, which is slightly bigger than the Micro Swift, which is smaller than the real Swift, records 1080p at 60 frames per second without needing a GoPro on here. So it all fits into this really nice little package. It's like 180 grams, which is heavy for a 3-inch, but I have 2 cameras and can record full 1080p 60 frames on here, and it's kind of been my fun little build. I would never choose to race with it by any means, but I'm trying to give purpose to 3-inch builds, and I think that this is maybe starting to hit the happy medium.
Hey, I love the idea of the split because you put those on all your racing drones and you finally get some HD quality out of you racers, because nobody wants to lug around a GoPro during a race.
Yeah, I do.
You're special.
Yeah, I am special. And so I actually put 2 cameras on here because the split has a delay built into it. Not built in, it has a delay. It's basically twice as long as a regular CCD camera, which isn't the worst, but it's definitely not raceable. Because 30 milliseconds when you're traveling 80 miles an hour is like 13 feet. Something like that. It's ridiculous. And so it's I would rather have 0 latency and then add the extra like 20 grams by having a second camera, which is fine. But yeah, it's been a fun little project. I was having VTX problems, which I finally fixed today, and I just put on Facebook some footage from it. I'm sure a video will make it to the YouTube channel eventually. But so that's been a fun one. Do you want to talk about one more?
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. So I've also got, this is my my long range quad. This was kind of inspired by Gab 707. He's got a big 6-inch rig that he's been using to make all of his
The mountain
crazy
videos.
stabilized videos. This is a HiFi, multi-rotors HiFi. And it is the 7-inch version. We had these custom cut. You can see that these are 6-inch props, actually, not 5-inch. These are actually DRL motors and props. And this runs an 1800 milliamp 5-cell on swinging 1800 kV motors. And if I take it easy, I can get 10 minutes of flight out of this. If I go at a fast cruising speed, I can get 6. And I have a Crossfire and a Unify in here, and combined with my clear view, I can go 1.5 miles on 5.8 200 milliwatts.
Wow, that's not bad. This is clear
That's
line
not
of sight,
bad
right?
at all.
Clear line of sight, yes.
Yeah, that is.
Still though,
And I didn't go super high to stay. I was just over tree level. I had a big run up. This was out over a lake, and then to the next lake over at my cabin, and I stayed maybe double tree height on the other side of the lake. So I had good clear visual line of sight, but it's not like I was climbing to the moon to stay in video range. And I flew out comfortably and back. And then this is what I was using. So I had my friends were out on the lake doing tubing, and I just stood on the dock and flew from the shore and chased them around all the way around the lake.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah,
he is not scared of water. You know what? He's dunked so many things in the water.
I am totally scared of the water, dude.
So am I.
I have seen so many. I've seen guys come over here. They talk that smack. I'm gonna fly across the river. I'm gonna fly across the river. And I go, oh yeah, man, you'll be flying by yourself. I'll watch. And they get one flight over across the river, maybe 2. And then that third one, you hear.
Yeah. The worst part for me is losing the GoPro. Right. If I can at least get the footage back, it hurts, but it's not the worst. So for those flights, I actually was running this illegal RunCam 3 that was a pre-production one that I got sent.
Hey. You keep those. They're going to become collector's items, kind of like those Fat Shark orange ones or something.
Up, dude. Yeah. He just messed one up. He's pissed.
Hey, it happens. All right, let's start wrapping up. So, obviously,
wait. What about the 180 mile an hour car video? Shit.
Oh,
what about that one? Jesus, you guys, come on now. You can't. You guys gonna half-ass it? Now, come on now. Nurk is one of these guys. We can literally sit here for 2 hours and talk to Nurk, and every damn body will listen to the whole damn thing and not sway away. Just let the man chit-chat,
Whatever.
I want to know about the car deal, man. That was pretty cool. Explain that shit. Explain that right there.
So, I got to rewind to quite a ways actually. So we have this indoors place that we fly during the winter time. If you've watched my videos during the winter, pretty much everyone is just green AstroTurf and set up gates, and that's about it. And it gets a little boring, and I'm sorry about that, but I can't do anything else here in the winter. But at the indoor place, I met a guy named Jamie. I can't remember his last name right now. I wish I did. And he runs a print and vinyl and painting shop for cars, for whatever you need. And it turns out that he does the helmets for a guy named Gavi Chavez. Gavi Chavez is a IndyCar driver for the Indianapolis 500. He placed 9th this year. He's got his own YouTube channel, which I'll give to link in the show notes afterwards. And he flies FPV, turns out. And so, I connected with him on Instagram and just sent him a message hey, how's it going? I heard that you fly. You want to fly sometime? And he's like, oh, Nurk, it's so good to hear from you. I watch all your stuff. I'm just oh my gosh, this guy's an actual celebrity. And I'm just hey,
two celebrities hanging out.
I'm a nerd. And so we actually haven't flown together yet because every time we schedule it, like we scheduled one for the day and it got rained out. But so the Indy 500, the Indy Metro or Motor Speedway, where the Indy 500 is held, had a track day where people could pay to come and take 2-seater rides in the Indy 500 cars.
Right.
And Gabby kind of just, sent me a message just, hey, can you make it tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and I can give you a ride during the practice round or the warm-up round. So I got to do like 6 laps on the Indy Motor Speedway
Nice.
at 182 miles an hour. And they have like GoPro mounts on the car. So I was just like, I brought my GoPro, just set it in there and we're gone. It was crazy. It was really, really fun. And so thank you, Gabby, if you're watching.
How's that feeling when it took off, man?
It's unreal. It's not as fast as a mini quad, that's for sure. But I've never accelerated that fast with just my body, so that was fun.
And when you're at the Indy 500, the banks, it's like you don't realize it's as steep as it is until you're actually on it.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I've actually been on the track once before. I did the Indianapolis Mini Marathon, and 3 miles of the course or of the marathon is on the Indy Motor Speedway. And so I've actually run the whole thing, and it took forever. You get on the car and you do a lap in like 50 seconds. It's like, oh my gosh. You get a sense of how fast you're going real quick.
That's pretty cool, though. I bet you he probably let it loose too, because I think a lot of times when first time goers, they usually hang back a little bit. They want to ease you in. He's probably like, it's Nurk. He's used to it.
No,
gone.
He definitely. I don't think he held back. I'll have to ask him that though, because he's kind of a sly guy. He'll kind of sit back and think, and then just like, all right, let's see what you got. That sort of. So it'd be fun to ask him that and see what he says.
That's pretty cool. All right,
I got another question for you. So why you sit down and be quiet for a little bit?
Wow.
So far, you have your Theory W, right? You still have that?
I own it. It is in a few pieces, but I own it.
What happened?
I am better at flying when there's 4 motors instead of just one.
I thought you was doing pretty good, man.
I was, but yeah, eventually it just, I tried to fly a little too close to the sun, as it were, and boom. I actually put it all the way back together once, and then flew it again, and immediately smashed it. So I was just like, all right, I'm done with planes forever. I'm going back to quads.
No, don't give up. Come on.
He's trying to get you into wing racing.
Huh?
He's trying to get you into wing racing. He needs some partners.
You would do it. I get all the, I'm impressed that you guys step outside your normal, venue, with racing quads. You guys are really good at racing quads. A lot of guys are really good at racing quads. And there's a lot of pilots out there that are really good at flying wings. But it's a rare occurrence when you find someone that can do all the disciplines at one time and excel at all of them. So, watching you go through that whole process of, the learning curve, it also gives new pilots an opportunity to see you guys go through that and not take the hard knocks, because we all, like, I remember we used to call it the crying days. It was about 15 years ago. All of us would be at the field and somebody would crash their, $1,000 plane.
Yeah.
And, some dude would go home, he'd be sitting in his car. I just got the credit card paid off, and stuff like that. You saw those days. There's a many of those days, for some of us older pilots, and
were most of those days yours, Elvon?
Yes.
Yeah. We man, I can tell you about a plane that I built once, and it went down so smooth, and then just caught on fire.
Oh, bummer.
And it was one of those first lipo brushless kits from China. You saw it for $50 and bought it, put it in the plane, took off, flew one good flight, and it went. Oh man, what's the matter with it? It won't stay up. Oh man, and I'm on emergency land. Blah, 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 blah. And I land, and we're walking over there, and my buddy's like, "Good save, man, awesome job," And then all of a sudden,
oh no,
and it was so. By the time we got there, it was done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's one of those days when you're sitting in the corner in the car, and your buddy comes up and pats you on the back and said, "Dude, it's okay. You'll be all right."
Yeah. Well, then you have to go. You have to explain it to the wife, though. That's my biggest fear, is having to tell her that I need to get a new thing.
Yeah. Wow. Well, my wife's pretty forgiving now. Over the last 20-something years, so she just looks at it as, if it's something you need, it's something you need. If it's there's things there's things I do without. You know what I mean? I'm in that pair of tennis shoes for 2 or 3 more months instead of the first time the hole pop in the pinky toe.
For sure. Yeah, I feel that.
But what I mean, I don't want to get away from the whole fact that you was learning to fly a wing, and there is a learning curve for it. And you were learning, and you were progressing other pilots at the same time. That's why I was asking those questions.
I've actually got in the garage a Sweepings Juggernaut kit, and I've got all of the components that I need for it to put it together. So I'm going to get back to it, but it's plane building is not my thing. It feels too much like arts and crafts rather than assembling the flying machine. So I kind of got to work up to it a little bit. Yeah, I know you. I can see how you feel about that, but that's what it is, right? You're playing with glue and scissors.
The annoyance
like you
of
were
it.
in kindergarten.
Man, that hurts. I'm gonna get you, man. I'm gonna get you for that.
Glue.
All right.
Laminate. Cutting.
Scissors and paints and markers.
Damn pretend mechanics. That's what it is.
All right. You had your fun.
It's good, man. I appreciate you asking the questions. It's fun to ask those questions and see what you got to say about it. All you guys are great pilots, but it's also good to see, like, when you guys are branching out to, like, that guy Gabby, the race car driver, when y'all branch out into those areas, you start to see where all of you guys' real race strategies come out, and like we filmed Gil, and some of the conversations some of the things he talked about in the interview, like you before, I've heard you say, talking about fundamentals of racing and stuff like that, and those things are apparent that you guys are learning as you guys progress into your racing persona and your racing careers.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with that. It's we're right at the beginning of something great, and seeing what is not hype, but what is learned and what is true will continue to come out, and it will be fun to see where real strategy and real technique come developed to the point where it can be explained and taught and written. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
definitely. And I think, really, I don't know. I kind of hope. Okay, we're getting back into DRL, so I'll just make this one quick thing. Is like, I kind of hope they take away one heat and do more theory crafting on why this pilot beat out this pilot in this turn, stuff like that. Because they do a little bit of it, but they don't do it in a real world example. They do it all in CG, which isn't near as fun as actually showing a real world example in slow motion.
What I think they should do is have a lot of supplemental stuff, right? They've got a whole social media presence. Like, they got a good one too. I mean, they've got a few hundred, like 100,000 subscribers and a really active Facebook audience and stuff. Like, let's start putting out content, kind of explaining those things, even if it's just little supplemental things here and there. But
that's your job.
That's
literally.
I probably once a week I say, hey, give me the login. I will start making stuff, but hasn't happened yet. So, hey, DRL, I'm here. I'm ready. Let's go.
It's like he's a content machine, man. He's a content. Okay, 2 more questions and we'll let you go. International Open. What are you hoping to compete there?
I'm actually hoping to just kind of have fun there. It's not that I'm burned out, but I'm really excited to go to a race, just have it be a low pressure, fun, hang out, make some cool videos, meet some cool people, and I'll do a lot of racing. But I don't think that's going to be my primary goal there. If that makes sense.
Okay, so you're just there. It's racing, but you're going to treat it more like a fun fly.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're going to actually be smiling,
Oh yeah, for sure.
We like to see when you smiling, man.
Hey.
Well, that's one of those things about all of you guys that we all notice is it's better content when you guys are happy.
Yep, absolutely.
He'll smile until the goggles go down. Then he's all business.
Yeah.
All right.
At the end, you got to do something.
Exactly. Last question. It might be a little bit of a long one. It's like you progressed the furthest in your career in terms of a drone racer. Are you full time now? Do you consider yourself full time?
Mm-hmm.
So,
no, I am not full time. I am I consider myself 1/3. a 1/3 pilot. So the rest is paid programming jobs here and there. And so I have a goal of income that I am trying to replace with drones, and I am 1/3 of the way there to whatever that is.
Of the way there. That's still a long ways away. Yeah. So, what is and you might not be able to answer this because you might not want to explain it. But do you have a career path that you're trying to pursue right now in terms of trying to, make this into the best career that you can?
I've been keeping it pretty generic on purpose. But what I want to do is have a full-time career in drones. If it's drone racing, that would be perfect. If it's drone racing for 1/3 of the time and filming gigs for the others, that's okay. That's fine. If it's doing some kind of industry development thing, I've been working with some pretty big drones with the client here, actually in near Indianapolis, and that's been a fun process. And so there's all sorts of different approaches. But yeah, if I could go the racing route, the content route, like almost the entertainment route, that would be ideal.
Pretty cool. Okay. All right, Elvin. You got anything else? We're gonna start wrapping up.
Here's the last question.
Okay.
What is your favorite motor?
Probably still the T-Motor F60, the original one. It's actually what I'm racing with this season. I tried to branch out. I didn't like where it went. I went back to the T-Motors. The T-Motor F60s.
They have a strong following.
26 or 2500. Yeah, the 2450. It's 2500.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
They have a strong following. Why has those motors?
Yeah, they're good
Yeah,
motors. They're still expensive though.
That reminds me. Here's a good opportunity for me to thank my sponsors. T-Motor.
There you go.
Runcam, FPV Direct, Futaba, and
Heli Direct.
No,
he's totally gone.
I said FPV Direct.
Yeah, that's right.
That last sponsor is ripping up the contract right now.
Yeah. Oh, Atmospheric Adventures. How could I forget?
Oh yeah.
Oh man,
I have right here the Kratos V2.
The Kratos.
What is that? A replaceable arms that I see?
Yep.
Oh, look at this. He's gone away from the unibodies. I guess somebody finally convinced them.
No, nobody convinced me, but popular demand did.
Popular demand. Right,
that's the person that convinced you.
I guess it's a lot of people.
Demand.
Exactly. Okay.
I don't
break too many. I haven't broken a frame in a while. So wait.
Yeah, I got one pretty bad the other day. But it had been a while for me too.
Yeah, I smashed a camera recently. That's about it. Soccer goal, you know how that is.
Yep, camera's bad. All right, Nurk FPV.
Yeah.
Where can we
Thanks,
find
man.
you
Appreciate
on the
it.
internets? Hold on. Now you're getting ahead of me. Where can we find you on the internets?
If you go to http://nurk.tv, you will find my YouTube channel, and you can search for my Instagram as well, is Nurk FPV. But yeah, my YouTube channel is the thing that I'm probably the most proud of in FPV for myself, and that's just good content talking about what is the story of FPV, telling the behind the scenes of what it takes to be a pilot.
Pretty cool, and he's been telling a pretty good one. He's if you followed him from the very beginning, it's actually a great story, because he literally went from "I'm never going to be a pro pilot" to "Hey, look, I'm here. I'm
be a pro pilot." He said.
He never said that, did he?
It was it was less than 2 years ago that I first started racing, and now it's like, whoa, here we are. So it's pretty cool. So go back to blog episode 1, watch that awful Yee footage, and scroll all the way on through to current episode is 87.
Hey,
I think.
it brought you from one place to another. We can't knock it. We must say
I'm not.
It's all amazing. About the stepping stones, right? I mean, we all have made stepping stones as we progress.
Yep.
Pretty cool, man. Appreciate you coming on. I always love having you on, sharing your thoughts and your journey all the way through. And I'm sure next year, when we do Intro to Drone Racing again, you'll have something else different to say. I don't know I'm not sure what it is yet, but we'll have something.
Hey, it's a good one to revisit, I think.
With a gray beard. He'll be 3 years in the flying racing professional. We'll have him in a gray beard, and he'll be.
Hey,
when I was back with my ZMR 250,
Hey, he's not 70 like you.
Back in the Simon K days.
Right. Hey, Simon K.
Those weren't too long ago. 2 years isn't that long ago.
If you didn't have the right bootloader, you were screwed.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Still that way. Still that way. All right, we're cutting out. Thank you so much for joining us, and we are done for another week.
Bing!